fine. Alhamdulillah.
Good, good.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So the topic today is days of Shawwal, the fasting in days of Shawwal and the benefit of fasting after Ramadan.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Nah, I'm fine.
Yeah?
Okay. Inshallah.
Okay, so Sheikh, are you ready?
Bismillah.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. Carry on then.
Alhamdulillah. والصلاة والسلام الأتمان الأكملان على محمد رسول الله. Now,
all praises are due to Allah, and may peace and salutations be showered upon our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
سيد الأولين والآخرين.
The leader of the first and the last.
وإمام الأنبياء والمرسلين.
The Imam, the leader of the messengers who were sent.
والشافع المشفع يوم الدين.
And the intercessor who intercedes on behalf of those who are interceded for on the day of recompense.
وعلى آله الطيبين.
And also peace and salutations upon his good family.
وأزواجه الطاهرات أمهات المؤمنين.
And his pure, righteous wives, the mothers of the believers.
وصحابته الغر الميامين.
And his companions.
ومن اتبعهم واستنى بسنتهم واهتدى بهديهم إلى يوم الدين.
And upon all those who follow them and take his example as an example to be followed until the day of recompense.
أما بعد فنحمد الله عز وجل أن متعنا وإياكم بأن عشنا أيام وليالي رمضان.
To proceed, we thank Allah and we praise him that he has given us the opportunity to have fasted during Ramadan.
وقد كان رمضان يختلف عن كثير من الرمضانات قبله.
And it was a Ramadan that was different to the many Ramadans that came before it.
رمضان هذا العام لم نجتمع فيه معا.
In this Ramadan, we never met together in a bodily sense.
لكن اجتمعت قلوبنا في طاعة الله وألسنتنا في كثرة الدعاء لله.
However, our hearts, they united and they came together upon worship of Allah and his remembrance.
رمضان هذا العام لم نصلي في بيوت الله.
In Ramadan of this year, we never prayed in the houses of Allah.
لكن عمرنا بيوتنا بالصلاة فطردنا منها الشياطين.
However, we made as places of worship our houses, and through this worship that we conducted in our houses, we deflected and repelled the devils that are around them.
في رمضاناتنا الماضية كنا نصلي الفرائض والنوافل في المساجد وتخلو بيوتنا من الصلاة إلا ما ندر.
In previous Ramadans, we prayed the optional prayers and the obligatory prayers in the masajid, in the mosques, and it was the case that we would not pray except very, very little in our houses.
وفي رمضان هذا العام شعت الأنوار من كل بيت مسلم فصلى كل أهل البيت جميع الصلوات في البيت فريضة ونافلة رواتب الصلوات وصلاة الليل والضحى كلها جميعا صليت في البيوت فعمرت البيوت.
However, in this Ramadan, the houses were illuminated through the worship of Allah, whereby families were praying all of the prayers, all of them, in terms of the obligatory prayers, in terms of the optional prayers, in terms of the night prayers, the duha, which is the forenoon prayer. All of these prayers were offered as families inside their homes, and as a result, their homes were given life.
كنا في رمضاناتنا الماضية نحرص على ختم القرآن في المسجد بعد الظهر، بعد العصر، بين المغرب والعشاء، بعد الفجر، وقل منا من يقرأ القرآن في بيته، لكننا في هذا الرمضان قرئ القرآن في كل بيت أكثر من مرة.
In previous Ramadans, we would endeavor to recite the whole of the Quran in its entirety after the prayers of Dhuhr, after the prayers of Asr, and between the prayers, indeed between the prayers of Maghrib and Isha. We would pray and we would recite the Quran after the prayers. And it was the case that in previous Ramadans, we might not have recited the Quran that much in our homes. However, in this Ramadan, the people recited the Quran in their homes to the extent whereby they may have completed the Quran more than once.
في رمضاناتنا الماضية كنا وندعو كثيرا، لكننا في رمضاننا هذا دعونا أكثر، ودعونا من قلب حاضر لشدة ضائقة الفيروس على الناس وحبسه إياهم في البيوت.
And in previous Ramadans, we would have supplicated or invocated Allah lots. However, in this Ramadan, we would have invocated Allah even more. And we would have done so with hearts that were attentive and hearts that were yearning the freedoms of the lockdown that we are facing.
والله عز وجل يجيب دعاء المضطر ويحب صدق اللجأ إليه خاصة في حالات الاضطرار، ولذلك كان يكشف كرب المشركين إذا وقعوا في الكرب وأخلصوا الدعاء لله فيكشف عنهم السوء.
And indeed, Allah loves the call or the supplication of the individual who faces hardship, and He loves to answer the call of this individual. It used to be the case that He would answer the call of the polytheists when something difficult afflicted them and they worshipped Allah sincerely and they called upon Allah sincerely out of need. And it's because there is this dire need of Allah, and this type of supplication shows this need that we have of Him.
كنا في رمضاناتنا الماضية نقتصر على التأمين خلف الإمام في دعائه في الوتر من صلاة الليل، لكننا في رمضان هذا العام كنا ندعو ونلهج بالدعاء ونبتهل إلى الله بحضور قلب لأننا مضطرون.
In previous Ramadans, we would hear the invocation of the Imam during the odd prayer, the last prayer of the night, and we would say Ameen after he invocated and called upon Allah. However, in this Ramadan, we performed this ourselves and we called upon Allah with hearts that were attentive due to our difficult circumstances.
فلله الحمد من قبل ومن بعد، هو سبحانه ذو الحكمة البالغة في كل ما يصنع، ولم يخلق الله عز وجل شرا محضا قط أبدا.
So Allah, or unto Allah, is all praise in the beginning and in the end, in all circumstances. And He has great, extensive wisdoms behind the things which He ordains. And it's true that Allah, the Most High, He never created any evil that was pure evil in this sense.
طيلة رمضان تردد في الصحة العالمية وعبر وسائل الإعلام أن فيروس كورونا لم يوجد له بعد علاج، فانتزع من صدورنا التعلق بغير ربنا عز وجل، فانكبت القلوب على الله تدعوه ترجوه تتضرع إليه سبحانه وتعالى.
With the spreading of this virus, the coronavirus, it was almost as though our hearts, they could have been swayed or they could have been relying upon other than Allah. However, when this Ramadan came, we called upon Him sincerely and we faced Him, and our efforts were focused upon Him, the Most High.
ثم أيها الأحبة، من كلام أهل العلم في باب العبادات وقبولها أنهم يقولون إذا وفق العبد لعبادة بعد عبادة وطاعة بعد طاعة ففي هذا دليل على قبول طاعته وعبادته الأولى.
And then we add to this that the people of knowledge, they have some speech relating to the acts of worship that the slaves carry out. And that is that when a slave finishes a certain act of worship, and then upon finishing it, they're given the success to perform another act of worship. This is an indication that their first act of worship was accepted by Allah the Most High.
وذلك مأخوذ من قول ربنا عز وجل والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا، أي جاهدوا فينا أنفسهم في طاعتنا، في تحقيق التوحيد، في أداء العبادات على وفق السنة، أولئك نهديهم سبلنا أي نزيدهم هدى.
And the proof of this that we have said is the statement of our Lord talking about the people. Allah the Most High said, and those who strive in our cause, indeed we will guide them to our paths, meaning good action or different types of good action. So here we see that the people, they strived in the cause of Allah, they strived by making Allah one, they strived by worshipping Allah, and then as a result of this, Allah said, لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا, we will guide them to our paths, meaning the different paths of righteous action.
وكذلك قال ربنا عز وجل والذين اهتدوا زادهم هدى وآتاهم تقواهم فلما أدوا ما عليهم في رمضان فكان ذلك منهم هدى زادهم الله هدى بأن يستمروا على ذلك الهدى بعد رمضان.
And furthermore, the verse of the Quran, that which means those who were guided will increase them in guidance, or will give them more in guidance. So those people who were guided and given the success to fast during Ramadan, they will be given the success to follow it up with additional acts of worship.
ومن ذلك ما نص عليه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كما في الحديث في حديث ثوبان وفي حديث جابر وغيرهما من قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم من صام رمضان ثم أتبعه بست من شوال كان كصيام الدهر، أي من صام رمضان كاملا إيمانا واحتسابا ثم أتبع ذلك بستة أيام من شوال أجري له أجر صيام سنة كاملة.
And from this is the statement of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that has been reported by Thawban, and it's been reported by Jabir, where the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whosoever fasts Ramadan and then follows it up by fasting 6 other fasts, additional fasts in the month of Shawwal, the month that follows Ramadan, it is as though they have fasted an entire year. So this is the case that whosoever fasts Ramadan, having faith and seeking Allah's reward, that if they follow it up with these 6 additional fasts, it is as though, or they will receive the reward as though they have fasted for an entire year.
وقد بين النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم معنى قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان كصيام الدهر، فقال في حديث آخر قال فرمضان ب10 أشهر و6 أيام بشهرين، يعني أن اليوم ب10 أيام لأن الحسنة ب10 أمثالها، فكان صيام 6 أيام بعد رمضان تعدل للصائم الذي صام واستكمل كل أيام رمضان تعدل أجر سنة كاملة من الصيام.
And in the narration that's preceded, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he explained this in another statement where he said, indeed, Ramadan, it's equal to 10 months. This is the fasting of 1 month, but it's equal to 10. And then the 6 days of Shawwal, the month that follows Ramadan, is equal to 2 months. And that's because a good action is multiplied by 10. So the entire month of Ramadan is multiplied by 10, giving us 10 months. And then the 6 days of Shawwal are multiplied by 10. So it becomes 60 days, which is 2 months.
نعم. ثم نأتي إلى أحكام صيام 6 من شوال. فنقول نص العلماء على أن هذه 6 أيام من شوال يقتضي أن تكون عقب استكمال عدة رمضان. نعم.
So now we will move on to discuss the rulings behind the fasting of these 6 days. The people of knowledge have talked about this, and they have detailed the fact that for an individual to fast these 6 days, they should do so after having completed the month fasting of Ramadan.
فمن كان عليه صوم من رمضان يقضيه كمن كان مريضا أو مسافرا أو امرأة كان عليها الحيض، فإنه لا يشرع في صوم 6 أيام من شوال حتى يأتي بما عليه من رمضان، وذلك لأسباب نبينها.
So whosoever has to make up fasts, having missed them during Ramadan for a legitimate reason, such as the individual who is traveling or sick, or a woman who had her period over this time, it's not permissible for them, or it's not legislated for them to take or do these 6 fasts until they have made up those fasts that they left during Ramadan. And this is something that we will explain now.
في الحديث أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: من صام رمضان ثم أتبعه، فقوله من صام رمضان يقتضي أن يكون الشهر كاملا، سواء كان الشهر بالرؤية 29 أو 30. فإذا صام كما صام الناس عددا في الأيام صح منه أن يأتي ب6 أيام من شوال، فإنه من لوازمها متابعة أيام شوال لأيام رمضان، فلا تتقدم عليها، لأنه قال من صام رمضان وثم تفيد التعقيب، أي أيام شوال تأتي عقب أيام رمضان.
The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, whosoever fasts Ramadan and then follows this up. So this hadith, it gives us an indication that the condition for someone to fast these 6 days is that they complete the fasting of Ramadan. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whosoever fasts Ramadan, i.e., they fast the month in its entirety. And this is irrespective of whether the month ends up being 30 days or 29 days. If they complete the fast as the people complete their fast, then this additional act of worship is opened up or made legitimate for them. It's correct for them then to come and follow up with these 6 fasts. And then in the text of the narration, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whosoever fasts Ramadan and then follows it up. And then it shows us that there's an ordering of these acts of worship, and that these 6 fasts, they follow the act of worship of fasting Ramadan in its entirety.
وهذا تماما كما أن للصلوات رواتب قبلية وبعدية. فمثلا صلاة الظهر من صلى ركعتين 4 قبلها وركعتين بعدها، فلا يحق له أن يجمع ال6 ركعات قبل الظهر، بل لا بد أن يفرقها على نحو ما ذكر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: 4 قبل الظهر وركعتين بعدها. وفي حديث عائشة: ركعتين قبلها وركعتين بعدها. فلا يحق له أن يجمع ال4 جميعا تكون قبل الظهر بنية أنها القبلية والبعدية، لأن الترتيب في الإسلام مهم جدا. ولما عقب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بثم في حديث 6 من شوال، علم أنه لا بد من استكمال عدة رمضان، ثم بعد ذلك البدء بصيام شوال أو 6 من شوال.
And we can give an example of this in the act of worship of praying. And in the prayer, we have the Sunan al-Rawatib. Now, I could translate that by calling it the regular prayers, the regular additional prayers that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to offer. The regular additional prayers, meaning that they weren't the obligatory prayers. So, for example, with these regular prayers that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to offer, they were, for example, the 4 units before the Dhuhr prayer and the 2 units after the Dhuhr prayer. It's not permissible for someone to say, for example, that they, for whatever reason, they want to pray the 6 units before the Dhuhr prayer. Rather, what they have to do, they must do it as the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did, and offer 4 before and then 2 after the Dhuhr prayer. And it's also been reported on the authority of Aisha that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, offered 2 units of prayer before the Dhuhr and 2 after the Dhuhr prayer. So we say similarly, an individual cannot say, my intention is to offer both of these before the Dhuhr prayer and I will pray 4. Rather, they must come with 2 and then Dhuhr and then pray the additional 2. And this is because ordering is something that's very important in Al-Islam, and it's necessary for someone to pay attention to the order in which the acts of worship are done. So with this in mind, it's incumbent for the individual to complete the fasting of Ramadan and then partake in the fasting of these 6 days.
ووجه الشبه بين حديث ابن عمر وحديث جابر، حديث ابن عمر في الرواتب وحديث جابر في 6 من شوال، وجه الشبه في الأجر وفي توقيت العمل. ففي حديث ابن عمر أو في حديث عائشة أيضا: من صلى لله 12 ركعة في اليوم والليلة من غير الفريضة بنى الله له بيتا في الجنة. هذه 12 ركعة بينها الصحابة فقالوا: 2 قبل الفجر، 4 قبل الظهر وركعتين بعدها، 2 بعد المغرب، 2 بعد العشاء. فلو أنه جعل ما بعد المغرب وما بعد العشاء قبل المغرب وقبل العشاء، فإنه لا يحصل له هذا الأجر الذي وعد به في هذا الحديث من بناء بيت في الجنة. فكذلك 6 من شوال في الحديث: ثم أتبع، صام رمضان ثم أتبع. فلو قدم أيام شوال على بعض من أيام رمضان لم يصح أن يقال عنه أتبع، والله أعلم.
And we see that there's a similitude or an example that we can make between the reports of Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them both, as relates the sunnah prayers or the example prayers that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to offer, and the fasting of the 6 in Shawwal as reported by Jabir, may Allah be pleased with him. And that similitude or the comparison that we can make is as relates to the timings of these actions and the reward that is conditional upon the acts of worship that are carried out. So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whosoever prays 12 units of prayer other than the obligatory prayer, Allah will build for that individual a house in paradise. And then these 12 units of additional prayers were explained in the hadith as being 2 before Fajr, 4 before Dhuhr, and then 2 after Dhuhr, 2 after Maghrib, and 2 after the final prayer, Salat al-Isha. So this making 12 units.
Yeah, I just get you to go back and go through that a bit slower for me.
Sorry, beg your pardon. So the units of prayer, there were 2 before the Fajr prayer, 4 before the Dhuhr prayer, and 2 after it, 2 after the Maghrib prayer, and then 2 after the Isha, the final prayer. So this reward that's been promised, i.e. that Allah will build for this individual a house in paradise, this is conditional to an individual performing this act of worship as it's been laid out. So if an individual were to pray 12 units of prayer from other than the obligatory prayer, but for example, the 2 units that are connected to Maghrib, instead of praying it after the Maghrib, they pray it before the Maghrib. And the 2 units that are connected to Isha, instead of praying them after the Isha, they pray them before the Isha. This individual, although they have prayed 12 units, they have not fulfilled the requirements of the hadith, and as a result, they do not receive this reward that has been mentioned in this narration. And we say that it's similar, the case is similar with the fasting of the 6th of Shawwal, that the individual, they must complete the fasting of Ramadan before and then start with the fasting the 6th of Shawwal.
ومما ينبغي أيضا أن يعلم بخصوص 6 أيام من شوال هو أن هذه 6 ليس بالضرورة أن تصام مباشرة بعد يوم العيد، لكنه الأفضل أن تصام مباشرة بعد يوم العيد، وكذلك ليس بالضرورة أن تصام متتابعة، ولكن الأفضل أن تصام متتابعة. فللإنسان أن يصومها متفرقة مثل أيام الاثنين والخميس أو أيام الإجازة كأيام السبت والأحد أو الجمعة والسبت أو حسب ما يتيسر له، لكن لا يفرد الجمعة بصوم منها ولا يفرد السبت بصوم منها، لأنها ما تزال صوم نافلة، ولا يفرد يوم الجمعة ولا يوم السبت بصوم نافلة، لا بد أن يضيف إلى الجمعة يوما قبله أو بعده، وإذا أراد أن يصوم السبت فكذلك يصوم مضافا إليه يوما قبله أو يوما بعده.
And also there are other matters that we will look at now. Fasting these 6 days, it's not necessary that they have to be or they must be offered straight after Eid. Rather, they can be done any time throughout the month, but what is best is that they are done straight after Eid, but it's not absolutely essential. Also, it's not necessary that they are done one following the other, i.e. 6 in a row. However, this is what is best. But an individual, they may fast, for example, on Mondays and Thursdays, or they may fast on their days off from work, or they may fast on Saturdays and Sundays, or Fridays and Saturdays. However, the individual cannot and must not fast just on Friday or just on Saturday, because this fasting specifically on these 2 days and only fasting just on these 2 days singly without connecting a day before or a day after, this is something that has been prohibited because these are optional fasts and the conditions for the optional fasts are slightly different. So if someone wants to fast on the day of Friday, they must fast a day before it or a day after it, thereby fasting 2 days. And similarly, we say for the Saturday, If an individual wishes to fast on the Saturday, they may do so, but they must fast a day before it or a day after it in addition.
ومما أيضا يذكر في موضوع صيام 6 من شوال هو أنه لا يصح الجمع في النية في صيامها بين قضاء رمضان وصيام 6 من شوال، أي أنه لا يصح أن يصوم يوما ويعقد فيه نيتين، يكون هذا اليوم الواحد بنية قضاء رمضان وبنية صيام 6 من شوال، بخلاف ما لو صام يوم قضاء مع يوم فضيل كيوم الاثنين أو الخميس أو الأيام البيض يجمع بين النيتين فإن ذلك يصح. وكذلك يصح أن يجمع بين نية صيام 6 من شوال مع صيام الاثنين أو الخميس أو الأيام البيض، هذا يصح في جانب النفل، لكن لا ويصح في جانب الفرض مع غير 6 من شوال، لأن 6 من شوال اشترط فيها أن تكون عقب رمضان متابعة مكملة، متابعة لرمضان مكملة لأجر سنة كاملة مع رمضان، فلا يصح أن يجمع بينهما في عمل واحد بنيتين.
In addition to this, we must mention that it's not permissible for an individual to fast these 6, it's not permissible for an individual to make up the fasts of Ramadan and have the intention to combine this with the intention of fasting Shawwal, one of the 6 of Shawwal. So how does that work? For example, let's say that an individual needs to make up a fast of Ramadan. It's not permissible for them to fast on the Monday, saying that this is for Ramadan, and fasting or making that Monday fast also with the intention of fasting one of Shawwal. Rather, when they fast or they make up the fasting of Ramadan, this is something that is specific to Ramadan. However, if they are fasting and they are making up a day of Ramadan, it's permissible for them to join it with one of the virtuous days where one can fast. So, for example, it's good to fast on a Monday or a Thursday. The individual may fast making up Ramadan on a Monday and a Thursday with an intention of gaining the reward or the benefit for fasting on one of these better days. However, the individual, they cannot fast combining the 6 additional fasts of Shawwal with Ramadan. And this is because the hadith, it states that whosoever fasts Ramadan and completes it, so the reward that someone gains from fasting in Shawwal, the 6 additional, this is after having completed Ramadan, and it's an additional reward that the individual will get.
وأيضا مما يذكر في صيام 6 من شوال هو أنها تأخذ أحكام رمضان من حيث النية، فإذا أنشأ النية من الليل صح منه صوم 6 من شوال، وإذا لم ينشئ النية إلا بعد طلوع الفجر فإنه يكون صوم نافلة عامة ولا يكون صوم 6 من شوال المكمل لأجر صيام سنة كاملة مع رمضان.
In addition to this, there are some rulings that these additional 6 fasts take that resemble the rulings of Ramadan. And from them, for example, in Ramadan, the intention that one makes to fast, it must be made in the night that precedes the day in which one fasts. So the day before or the night before, someone must have the intention that they will fast the following day in Ramadan. This is the same for the 6 of Shawwal, the 6 of this month. The individual must have the intention that they will fast one of these 6 to gain this reward. If they do not, then their fast, it's just a general optional fast, and it's not considered to be one of the 6th of Shawwal.
وأيضا مما يذكر في باب صيام 6 من شوال عدم صحة ما يعتقده بعض العامة من أنه من صامه سنة صار واجبا عليه أن يصومه كل عام، فإن صيام 6 من شوال يبقى مندوبا طيلة العمر، فإن شاء صامه وإن شاء تركه، وإن صامه حصل له أجر صيام سنة كاملة، وإن تركه فليس عليه وزر. نعم.
And we should mention that some of what the people say or what the people hold to be true is not correct. And that is when they say that if an individual fasts these 6 days of Shawwal once in their lifetime, it becomes something that they must continue to do for the rest of their lifetime, i.e. it's something that becomes obligatory upon them. Rather, this is not correct. If an individual fasts it 1 year, they will, by the permission of Allah, gain the reward for having fasted it. But the ruling of it is that it remains as something that's recommended for them to do for the rest of their lives, because it's a recommended action. It doesn't become obligatory upon them. And if they fast it, they'll be rewarded. And if they leave off it, they will not be punished for doing so.
حال المسلم بعد رمضان لا يقتصر على 6 من شوال، بل إنه يتزود بها لتكون محطة له في مواصلة الصوم. فإن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لما استرشده رجل في عمل هو أحسن ما يكون قال له: عليك بالصوم فإنه لا مثل له. فعلى الإنسان أن يستكثر من الصيام قدر ما يستطيع، بشرط أن لا يسرد الصوم طيلة الأيام. وأفضل الصيام صيام داود، يصوم يوما ويفطر يوما. نعم.
We should also note that the Muslims' condition or the Muslims' offering of worship, it's not something that's restricted to offering these 6 fasts of Shawwal. Rather, the individual, they should benefit from having fasted Ramadan, and they should seek to adorn themselves with the benefits that they have received or attained throughout, i.e. throughout the year and throughout their lives. Once a man came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and asked him for guidance and advice. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, upon you is to undertake or to partake in fasting, for indeed there is nothing that is like it. So we should fast as much as we can and as often as possible. And when we say this, we don't mean that an individual should fast every day. Rather, we should, if we are able to, the best way to fast is to fast one day and break fast the other day. So to fast on alternate days. And this was the fasting style and pattern of the Prophet of Allah, David.
وكذلك يجتهد في صيام الاثنين والخميس لما ثبت في الصحيح من فضلهما، فإن صيام يوم الاثنين قال عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: يوم ولدت فيه وأحب أن أصومه. وهذا لأن مولده صلى الله عليه وسلم ليس كمولد أي إنسان، فإن مولده إيذان ببعثة آخر نبي ومن له الدعوة العامة لكل البشرية، وهو الذي أرسله الله رحمة للعالمين. فلذلك كان صوم يوم مولده عبادة وطاعة يحبها الله، وليس ذلك تشريعا لأحد من الناس أن يصوم يوم مولده أو يوم مولد غير النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And also we should endeavor to fast on the days of Mondays and Thursdays. And it occurs in the hadith of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, his narration, where he said, indeed, Monday was the day on which I was born. And as a result of this, I love to fast on this day. And this is because this day in which the Prophet, peace and blessings was born, peace and blessings be upon him, was born, was a day in which something great happened. And it was the birth, and then following this, the sending of him as a messenger, as the final messenger of Allah to the creation, a messenger whose call was general, and it was general to all the people, and it was a call that was going to be for all ages that followed. And he was a prophet who was sent as a mercy for all of creation. So for these reasons, to worship Allah through fasting on the Monday is an act of worship that Allah loves. And in this hadith, there is no indication, and it does not show us that it's permissible to fast on the birthday of any other individual other than the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
وأيضا فإن صيام الخميس قد بين النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فضله، فقال ترفع فيه الأعمال إلى الله وأحب أن يرفع عملي وأنا صائم.
And also on a Thursday, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he explained the virtues of the Thursday, where he said, it's a day on which the actions are raised to Allah, and I love that my actions be raised to him while I'm fasting.
وأما الأيام البيض فإنها أيضا تعدل صيام سنة من حافظ عليها، لأنها 3 أيام من كل شهر، فتكون بأجر صيام شهر كامل، فاليوم ب10 أيام وهذه 30 يوما، فإذا صامها على مدار العام فإنه يحصل له أجر صيام سنة، فيكون من صام رمضان ثم أتبعه ب6 من شوال وواظب على صيام الأيام البيض غرر الشهر أو سرر الشهر، يعني أوسط الشهر، فإنه يكون قد حصل له أجر صيام سنتين، سنة بسبب صيام رمضان وإتباعه ب6 من شوال، وسنة أخرى بسبب صيام 3 أيام من كل شهر، وذلك فضل الله والله ذو الفضل العظيم.
In addition to this, it's recommended to fast on what are called the white days, and these are the middle days of each month when the moon is particularly strong, but they're the 13th, 14th, and 15th of each Islamic month. So to fast on these 3 days, if an individual takes this as a habit, then to fast these 3 days is also equal to the fasting of a year. And this is, if we look at it, there are 12 months. The 12 times 3 is 36. And as we have mentioned, actions are multiplied by 10. So here we have 360 days. So the individual who fasts Ramadan and follows it up by 6 days of Shawwal, and then on top of this, they're consistent in fasting 3 days, these 3 white days each month, they attain the reward of having fasted 2 years, one for fasting Ramadan and the 6 days, and then one for being persistent in fasting these 3 days every month. And this is the virtue and the generosity of Allah, and he gives his generosity to whomsoever he wills.
وكذلك يحرص على صيام ما ثبت في السنة كيوم عرفة وصيام الصيام ما استطاع في شهر الله المحرم، وبالأخص يوم عاشوراء منه مع إضافة يوم قبله أو يوم بعده، وصيام شهر شعبان أو ما استطاع منه فهذه كلها أيام فضيلة الصوم فيها له أجر عظيم.
In addition to this, we should make efforts to fast other days. So there are other individual days of the year where there is an increased excellence in fasting. So for example, the day of Arafah, which is the day of Hajj. For those who aren't there, it's virtuous to fast. Also fasting the month of Allah, Al-Muharram, the first month of the Islamic calendar, and specifically to fast on the 10th, Yawm al-Ashura. And then in addition to that 10th day of Muharram, to fast a day before it or a day after it. Also, there is virtue or additional virtue in fasting the month of Sha'ban. And all of these days that we've outlined are virtuous days when the virtue of fasting and the reward of fasting is multiplied due to their goodness.
هذا بخصوص ما يتعلق بالصوم، ولكن لا نغفل عن قيام الليل، فإننا في رمضان اعتدنا خصوصا هذا الرمضان أن نصلي إما كآباء بأسرنا أو نصلي خلف آبائنا أو إخواننا في بيوتنا، فتعودنا على صلاة الليل، فلا ينبغي أن نتركها بل نواصل بقدر ما نستطيع من الليل أن نصلي ونقرأ من القرآن، فإن هذا يحفظ لنا سلامة البيوت من أذى الشياطين، وكذلك يجلب إليها النور والبهجة والسرور، فلنحرص على ذلك ما استطعنا.
And this is what we say as relates to the fasting. However, we can also say that during Ramadan, we offered the night prayer. And the night prayer is something that we can also offer throughout the year. And in this Ramadan specifically, we offered the night prayer in our homes. And we either led them as fathers or we were led at home in the prayer by our fathers. And we have become accustomed to offering the night prayer in our homes. So this is something that should not leave us. And we should carry on doing it as much as we are possibly able to. And through offering this blessed prayer at home, one's house can become free and deficient of ills. It can become a house in which there is light and illumination, and it's a house in which goodness, peace and contentment will descend.
وكذلك لا نغفل عن قراءة القرآن، فقد عشنا رمضان ونحن نقرأ القرآن من المصحف، فعلينا أن نواصل النظر في كتاب الله وقراءته والتفكر والتدبر فيما نقرأ، فإن هذا كله من شأنه أن يزيد الإيمان في القلوب. قال الله عز وجل: الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله، ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. وقال جل وعلا: وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا. فنستمر على هذه الأعمال حتى يزيد الإيمان في القلوب وترسخ العقيدة ونزيد من الطاعات ونرتفع عند الله عز وجل درجات، ويزداد حب الله عز وجل لنا، فإن الله عز وجل إذا أحب العبد آتاه شيئا عظيما نذكره إن شاء الله بعد الترجمة.
And in addition to this, we recited the Quran during Ramadan. We recited it and we thought over it carefully. And it's upon us to carry on doing so, to recite it, to think about it, and to ponder over its meanings. And Allah the Most High says, indeed, with the remembrance of Allah and the thinking of Allah, the remembrance of Allah, or through the remembrance of Allah, the hearts can attain peace and tranquility. And also Allah said, those who, when our ayat, our signs and our verses are recited, they are increased in their faith. So when we recite the Quran and we make remembrance of Allah, we do this, our faith in Him increases. Our belief, it becomes more firmly established. The level and the station that Allah regards us at and will reward us at will be increased and will be made greater. The love that Allah has for us will also increase. And when an individual loves, or when Allah loves an individual, Allah will give them something very special that we will explain now.
ولعلنا نختم إن شاء الله لقاء الليلة بهذا الحديث العظيم الذي يبين فضل مواصلة العبد في الأعمال النافلة بعد أداء الفرائض. فقد جاء في الحديث القدسي عند البخاري في صحيحه من حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه أنه قال نعم.
And we will finish tonight's sitting and tonight's gathering with this great hadith, this great narration that gives an indication of the importance of carrying on with acts of worship and being persistent in them. And it was reported, the hadith al-Qudsi. So this is the hadith or the narration that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he mentioned that Allah said. And this has been reported by Imam Bukhari on the authority of Abu Huraira.
قال سمعت رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول قال الله عز وجل من عادى لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب. من عادى لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب. ثم بين استحقاقات الولاية، كيف يكون الإنسان وليا. نعم.
So he said, meaning Abu Huraira said, I heard the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, say that Allah said, whosoever declares war or shows enmity with a close friend of mine, then I have declared war with that individual. And then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went on to explain the means by which an individual can attain this level of closeness to Allah.
ثم قال سبحانه وتعالى مبينا استحقاقات الولاية وما تقرب إلي عبدي بأحب مما افترضته عليه. هذه أول استحقاقات الولاية، أنك تأتي بالفرائض تامة كاملة على أساس الإخلاص لله والاقتداء فيها برسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
So Allah goes on to say in this narration, and indeed my slave doesn't draw near to me with anything that is more beloved to me than that which I have made obligatory upon him. So we see from this sentence that the person who offers the obligatory act of worship in a complete sense, having sincerity and following the example of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, will attain this love.
ثم بين شأن النوافل فقال ولا يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه فإذا أحببته كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها ولئن استعاذني لأعيدنه ولئن سألني لأعطينه. 6 فضائل لمن حافظ على النوافل بعد الفرائض، 6 كل واحدة تساوي الدنيا وما عليها. 4 الأولى تعني إحاطة ورعاية شاملة للسمع والبصر واليد والرجل فلا يحصل منه إلا ما يحب الله عز وجل. والثنتين الأخيرتين كرامة من الله له. الأولى أنه إذا خاف شيئا فاستعاذ بالله منه حماه الله من شره. والثانية إذا أحب شيئا وأراد تحصيله فسأل الله حقق الله له سؤله. وأي شيء أعظم من ذلك؟
So in the translation of this hadith, the things that we have already mentioned, these are the things through which an individual draws close to Allah. Now Allah explains the things through which, if the slave does, they can attain the love of Allah. So he said, and my slave does not cease to carry on drawing close to me with the optional acts of worship until I love him. And when I love him, I become his his eyesight by which he sees, I become his hearing by which he hears, his sight by which he sees, his hand by which he strikes, his foot by which he walks. And if they were to seek refuge in me, I would give them refuge. And if they were to ask of me, I would grant them whatever they ask. So glory be to Allah. Look at this great narration, and we see that there are 6 benefits that the individual who carries out the optional act of worship will attain. And they are the first 4, that Allah will protect them in terms of their senses, in terms of their hearing, their seeing, their hands, and their walking. And this protection is that Allah will make them do these things or use these faculties in a good way, or they will only see or hear or go towards that which is good for them. And in addition to this, there are 2 additional special things which are granted to this individual who carries out the optional prayers and the optional acts of worship. The first is that if they are scared of something or they fear something and they seek refuge in Allah, Allah will give refuge or will grant refuge to this individual. The second is that if they were to ask Allah of his bounty, so they like something and they wish or they desire something, and then they ask Allah for this thing, that Allah will grant it for them. So these are 6 benefits that the individual who offers the optional prayers and the optional acts of worship will attain. And each one of these benefits singularly, any one of them individually, is better than that which is in the dunya, the worldly life, and all that is in the worldly life. So what can be better than the individual who draws close to Allah in this manner and receives or attains this love of Allah and all of these 6?
أسأل الله بمنه وكرمه أن يرفع هذا البلاء عن العالم أجمع حتى تستمر عجلة الدعوة إلى التوحيد والسنة، وتسطع نور شمس الإسلام في كل أرض، ويعود الناس إلى مساجدهم وإلى عبادتهم وإلى دعوتهم إلى الله عز وجل على بصيرة، فتستضيء الأرض بعد ظلمتها وتنقذ البشرية بعد وشوك هلكتها. فإن ربنا جواد كريم وعد بالإجابة، وهو أصدق القائلين سبحانه وتعالى. فأسأل الله بمنه وكرمه أن يجعلني وإياكم مباركين أينما كنا، أن يغفر لنا ذنوبنا وسيئاتنا، وأن يجعلنا من العابدين الطائعين المخلصين. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه.
So I ask Allah through his generosity and his extensive bounty to lift this virus and to lift this this plague that we face, such that the people can return to the calling to Allah, such that the callers to Allah can return to explaining and propagating his faith and his religion, such that Islam can walk about and call people to that which is good, and such that the people, after having been in their homes and in this restriction, can be freed by this call of al-Islam. I ask Allah, who is the most truthful of those who speak and the best of those who speak, to make us blessed wherever we may be, and to make us true servants of his, and those who follow the sunnah, the example of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and those who are sincere in what they do, and may peace and salutations and blessings be upon our Prophet Muhammad and upon his family and companions. Jazakumullah khair, Shaykhana.
وإياكم
Jazakallah Sheikh. Jazakallah. Just to quickly note that inshallah we're going to be continuing the hour of power inshallah on Mondays, Thursday and Sunday with different mashayikh from around different sheikhs from around the world inshallah. So keep in touch, visit islamfordeaf.com or islamfordeaf.co.uk and you'll find more information there inshallah. Jazakallah for the Sheikh, Akil, Tom. As always, may Allah reward you and may Allah guide us all. And we'll meet again, inshallah. Jazakallah.
بارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم.
آمين وإياكم. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.